Hi, I'm Joe Carrero. We as Americans now have to choose who will be our next president and who will represent our values and direction for the future. It appears from hearing the plans of some who want to lead us that the destiny of our country and our children could be as followers to an uncertain world rather than the leaders of liberty and freedom that we've experienced throughout our history. With all the global changes and related problems that are occurring, it's evident that we will now either face becoming a declining military and economic power that will eventually have diminished capability to defend ourselves and ensure our personal liberties and our way of life, or continue to provide the world an example of strength committed to a goodwill that has protected the world from those with evil intentions and provided for those in need. It's been a while since President Reagan led the effort to free East Germany and dismantle the Soviet Union. Those successes occurred because of the strength of our country that showed we would lead the world to peace. We now need to protect those gains and principles by once again offering to the world the opportunity to experience those freedoms and liberties. But Ronald Reagan isn't running. And our primary concern is now to fix our economy, stopping the corruption and waste, prioritizing government, and then focusing on the limited yet crucial role of government so that we'll be able to afford to venture beyond our borders to continue to be a world power, realizing that if we don't control our destiny in the future, who will? That's why we need a leader who can carry us into the future with a determination to continue to be strong, rather than just offer us, a hope and change that only reduces our capabilities. Our next president needs to lead us in a plan for accomplishment with ideas and innovation, rather than stale strategies, by providing a growth in the immediate future, representing again how we were able to accomplish all that we have in the past, and to do so alongside American values and a pride in who we are, with the place to start as our #1 objective to accomplish immediately is to eliminate the need for the term homeless veteran. If as the Commander-in-Chief of our armed forces you cannot pledge the allegiance of our country to those who we send to protect us, you have no right to be considered to lead our country. And now is not the time to cut back on our military. That would create a vacuum that will be filled initially by China or Russia, but will also encourage other non-friendly countries and terrorists to expand their sphere of influence, costing our country its preeminent stature that took decades to achieve and will cost many lives and even more money to regain in the future. To balance our military costs, we need to charge other countries for the deployment of our troops and our technology in their interests. We don't have to occupy countries, but provide a presence and training to help promote to our friends a defensible position while promoting our own protection. Then we need to reverse the Bush decision to dismantle NASA and continue the space programs that enabled our technological advances, providing our country with opportunities for economic stimulation as well as security. To give up on these programs now only turns off opportunity for potential economic recovery, with us continuing our leadership in technology, as well as allowing us to maintain domination in the future. But to keep on pursuing these technological advances, we need to return education's primary function to educate our populace and provide comprehension to our economic system rather than have it be a form of a bureaucratic economic stimulus by providing jobs. Education needs to be reformed to give all that is needed to the student to become an economic tool with unbridled opportunity, not as a way to learn how to be a janitor to those with other dreams. We need to increase the demands of our schools to supply the highest level of learning possible, meaning smaller classroom sizes and longer school days for primary and secondary schools, and affordable tuition and grants to those students in post-secondary schools who choose to pursue careers in our national interests. Education needs to perform as the foundation of new economic growth, controlled by a dedication to the success of the student rather than an industry controlled by unions and textbook publishers that has increased the cost to the point of removing educational opportunity to most of the citizens of our country. We also need to reform the tax code with a fair tax that would eliminate the IRS that costs our citizens hundreds of billions of dollars to file returns to an overzealous bureaucracy that they could be spending on our economy. This consumption tax could allow for the protection of the low and middle classes and removal of tax breaks and loopholes available to those corporate interests, but cause everyone to pay something, including those in our country illegally and those involved in illegal activities. In the meantime, maybe we can immediately stop payments of $4.2 billion in refundable tax credits to those here illegally. And we really need to finally seal the borders with fences to protect us from those that would cause us harm, so that the only way to enter our country is through one of many entry points, allowing those who have business employment to enter legally with proper vetted documentation. Let's have a president who will protect our borders immediately without the delay brought on by the stalling tactic of concern of the status of those already here illegally. The first step is to plug the hole sinking our ship and then figure out what to do with the water already in it. We also need a president who really understands the need to improve and overhaul our healthcare system, since that is what's driving the deficit. First of all, we need to eliminate fraud, corruption, and duplication in government healthcare, including Medicare and Medicaid. That will go a long way to providing for a fair and more sustainable system for the intermingling of private services with government resources. We then need to recognize that those in our country have been at the forefront in the advancements of medicine, including researching cures and pharmaceuticals, as well as training outstanding doctors from all over the world. We need to encourage the expansion of the use of this scientific, technological, and medical capability to help turn our medical industry into a profit center, with our businesses providing and selling healthcare to the world as we continue to advance its benefits to our own citizens. You know, we spend $300 billion a year on a war against terrorism and $3 billion on a war against cancer, as 14 times more people die from cancer than terrorists. It's been predicted that with our advances in medicine and our discovery of cures for specific diseases with our current investments, that significant increases in our medical research funding could finally provide more cures for cancer and those other diseases affecting the populations of the world. We need to continue the fight against terrorism until it's eliminated. But let's also consider the personal terror being faced by those families dealing with what right now are incurable, heartbreaking diseases. Who knows? Maybe we can discover enough corruption and waste in those no-bid contracts given out to fight our wars in those countries who end up being our enemies to finally provide a cure for every kind of cancer and disease. So what we now need is to find a candidate for president who believes in the government's capability to reinvent itself as an efficient, effective entity that can provide services to its citizens without creating a deficit of resources, by just utilizing innovation and new ideas that seem to be missing from the stagnant, unchanged character seemingly ever present in Washington, D.C. And if we can locate and elect amongst the candidates such a government reformer, then we can involve the private sector in the recreation of the industrial giant of an economy that we witnessed before and combine changes in government policy with the American spirit to help spur the growth. I have video commentaries on my website involving our problems and describing innovative, practical, and common sense solutions, such as giving the unemployment compensation to small business to hire people, providing them with longer-term income than they could ever receive as a beneficiary of unemployment, and providing specific tax credits to consumers to stimulate demand and industrial development, rather than stimulus money to businesses to manufacture executive bonuses and salaries. Also, limiting regulation but providing oversight to make sure needed regulation is enforced. And encouraging the purchase of health insurance through tax credits, and providing more competition and preventive and early diagnostic care to keep insurance rates low instead of having a government-sponsored Obamacare. And a host of other ideas that I've proposed over the years as a senator and practiced as a small businessman. And if I, as an average Joe, can think of ways to provide for a future that resembles the glories of our past, you would think these candidates for president, with all their experiences and consultants, could come up with at least as many solutions to our economic woes. You would think. You must know, with all that is at stake, that this is the most important election of our time. More than ever, you must identify that one person in the crowd who will lead our country on a freeway to future promise rather than on a toll road to despair. Please become involved so that this time we recognize and acknowledge the need for more than just hope to reach our country's potential. May God bless us all, and thanks for listening to An Average Joe.